What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I came across this video earlier today, and I just had to respond to it. It features Cenk Uyger from the Young Turks on Trigonometry's channel or show. They're going to be interviewing him. The full episode comes out on Wednesday. I'll probably do a deep dive into that too. But he's somebody on the left that has a pretty bad case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Probably one of the worst that I've seen on mainstream leftist personalities. Maybe Sam Harris is probably worse. But he's constantly called Trump a dictator, obviously, and we're going to see now when Constantine pushes back just a little bit, not even pushes back, just really tries to get him to really explain what his basis is and what he thinks Trump's going to do. You could see him just weasel out of it. So let's just get into it.
So you don't call Trump Hitler, and you don't call the Republicans Nazis. But when you say the word fascist, as you say, the meaning of that word has been eroded. That's where most people's minds is going to go, right?
So what do you guys tell me, what should I call his obvious dictatorial tendencies?
Okay, obvious dictatorial tendencies, right? Watch what he says.
And his obvious over-the-top
You know
racism.
what? Actually, this is a really great question, because what I'd love for you to do is, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to catch you out or anything like that. I genuinely am interested.
Genuine. Look how calm he is too, Constantine. He's so great at debate. If you guys want me to do a deep dive into some of his other debates, he's fantastic. He's just calmly, not adversarial. Just hey, let me just dig a little bit deeper. Hey, can you just explain it? Let me just calm. And he's keeping it together. You can tell right now he wants to bust out laughing. Wait till we get to the later parts of it. He's really gonna want to start laughing. But he keeps it very cool, calm, and collected, and just lets Cenk speak. You'll see.
I have heard a lot of rhetoric from people about Donald Trump and the concerns that they have about the next 4 years. And, you know, people use words like fascist, dictatorial, etc. What do you fear over the next 4 years he is going to do that makes you say in the present moment that he's dictatorial, fascist? What is he going to do you think?
Yeah. So, again, I don't know that he's going to do it because there
Immediately, we immediately starts weaseling out of calling him a dictator. He's got obvious dictatorial tendencies. Oh, well, I don't really know for sure, even though I've been straight TDS, yelling at the camera, freaking out, calling everybody else stupid, going on interviews with Piers Morgan, for instance, saying everybody is so blind and obvious, can't see. Oh, how does nobody see it? And then immediately when somebody asks him to dig a little bit deeper, he's like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'm just going to weasel out of this. It's ridiculous.
there's countervailing forces.
What do you fear?
And I think the countervailing forces are super interesting, and we should talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm really...
The countervailing forces, which is some mystical thing that doesn't exist. He's not going to get to, oh, I'd love to get into the countervailing forces. It's ridiculous.
Interested to see which way the right wing goes in this country under Trump. But the worst case scenario is he gets frazzled and feels challenged, and he falls back on what he always does, which is just protect his ego. And so he starts pilfering, and that's very much in his nature. Grab, take, because now there's no accountability. What are you going to do? Impeach him? What are you going to do? Arrest him? No.
Grab and take. Like when? Yeah, okay, maybe, historically, 20 years before he even got into the presidency, during his presidency, what did he grab and take to protect his ego? It's ridiculous.
Accountability. There's no brakes in the car.
What
So
do you
we're
mean-
all
what-
at his mercy.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important for clarity. What do you mean by pilfering? He's going to be pilfering and pilfering.
Okay, so easy examples, but there's a million of these. He puts Jared Kushner in charge of the Middle East last time around, and Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner at some point goes to Saudi Arabia, talks to Mohammed bin Salman, and right afterwards, Mohammed bin Salman arrests a whole bunch of people. Okay, I don't want to get into too much into what happened in that meeting and what the results were, but whatever it was, Mohammed bin Salman was super pleased because right after the election, he gives Jared Kushner $2 billion to manage, but he gets 2 and 20 on that. So if you know private equity and how that works, what that means is he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So if Hunter Biden got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis after Joe Biden left office, I was like, Hunter Biden's not a Ukrainian gas expert. That's nuts.
Okay,
And that was $5 million.
So
Okay, I got to give Cenk that is a pretty good point. I do agree with him on Jared Kushner. I tried to do a little bit of research, and it definitely doesn't look great. But Jared Kushner is not at all involved with this new administration, so that point is a little bit moot at this point. But still, and Constantine's about to push back on this and say, okay, but we're talking about dictatorial behaviors here.
Your
So-
fear number one is that his family will benefit financially from
him.
his president,
Yeah.
and him will benefit financially. What
And
else?
his donors, most of all his donors.
And his donors.
What else?
Okay, so that's, but to be fair to Trump, like part of the reason the establishment hates him is because he's systemically and personally corrupt, whereas they're just
Systemically and personally corrupt. Is that the biggest crock of stuff you ever heard? Really? Personally corrupt? The guy who's probably the most selfless politician. He's not even really a politician, but probably the most selfless guy in politics probably ever, especially in modern times. It's ridiculous. Whereas he has no basis for this. He's just got Trump derangement syndrome. It's crazy.
largely systemically
Look,
corrupt.
I'm accepting
right?
all this for the sake of argument without
Yeah,
challenging,
and-
because I just want you to get to like the
There's Constantine to go. Like he's like, look, let's just get into it because he knows that he's got no basis for his opinions and he's just purely got Trump derangement syndrome.
real fascism that he's going to do that
Right.
you worry
So the
about.
reason I'm saying that is because since most of the politicians are systemically corrupt anyway, that's not the fascism
That's
I'm
my
referring
point.
to. Yeah.
Right. So where's the
okay.
fascism?
So he says, I'm going to deport all the undocumented immigrants. So some people might say, yeah, good. Rip them out of their homes, 13, 15 million people, whatever it is. Oh, they're running a diner. They're beloved in their neighborhood. They married an American citizen. Whatever they did, I don't care. And oh, their kids are American citizens. Rip them away from their babies and send them the goddamn back home. Now, that's a debatable point as to whether that's fascism. My guess is that if he starts doing it, and you start seeing people ripped out of their homes, that people are going to go, oh, that don't look good.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're going to find out. He might not. We're going to find out.
But if
okay?
he was to, let's say, I think the more likely scenario, I don't know if you agree with Cenk, but I think it's possible that this is the more likely scenario, is he deports all the people who've committed a crime in this country, who are illegal immigrants, right? People not only came here illegally, but have committed a crime, and people who don't have American family and don't have dependents here. Let's say he was to deport all those people. Would that be fascism in your view?
I don't even know if he deported all the undocumented immigrants, it would be fascism. I'm not.
There it is. Really? Let me bring up this point. Look, this is me being Cenk. I'm going to bring up this point, and then I don't even think that this has anything to do about being a fascist or a dictator. It's ridiculous. Like, why are you even bringing it up then? What's the point of you even saying that? It's crazy.
I'm not even
Right.
stipulating
Okay,
to
so
that.
let's
Yeah.
get to the fascism, though, because this
Okay.
is what I want to get
Yeah.
to, right?
And by the way, people who committed crimes should obviously be deported.
Right.
No
Yeah,
one
we agree.
disagrees with
Correct.
that.
No, he agrees with it.
So then the thing that I'm concerned about is both him and the potential attorney general saying, if you're on a campus and you're protesting Trump, you're protesting Israel, you're protesting the oil companies, you're protesting something we don't like, arrest and deport you. Wait, what happened to cancel culture? I mean, arresting someone.
He would never do that. Look at the protests that happened in 2020. No National Guard, hardly any arrests, nobody went to court, all that. It's literally unfounded, baseless.
For protesting or voicing their speech is the most both cancel culture you could do. I mean, you're taking the guy's
Agreed.
freedom away, right?
Yeah, agreed. But
deporting people that are American citizens.
Well,
what the hell are you talking
Yeah,
about?
you can't do
Yeah, he wants to bring that up, but he doesn't want to bring up what happened to the people on the right, the grandmas who walked into the Capitol on January 6th, etc.
that. But did he do any of that in his first term?
So he didn't. He didn't do
So he didn't. So what am I going to say now?
that.
Okay.
Okay, but so and that's why I say, guys, when he's running, he threatens to do total complete shutdown of Muslims.
Yeah.
He threatens to arrest
On the not complete shutdown of Muslims, the countries that were on Obama's terrorist watch list.
and deport people, etc. But he didn't necessarily do it. So, for example, they said lock her up, and then he got into office and he said, no, I'm not locking Hillary Clinton up. So I have an open mind. But
what
when he
other
threatens,
fascism?
so when he
You have an open mind, except for now you do, because Trump won and you realize that the majority of the country wants this guy in, and now you're trying to start backpedaling and weasel out of your TDS, Trump's a dictator attitude just for the last 4 years, 8 years.
threatens those type of things, I go, I am deeply, deeply concerned. Now, here's other things.
Okay.
So they had a 3-hour meeting after he lost the election, where Michael Flynn and I believe Sidney Powell, don't quote me on that, I don't want to get sued, okay, but definitely Michael Flynn said, let's use martial law. Let's roll out the tanks, okay? And we won this election. and we're going to correct the fraud, and let's go grab the actual ballot machines. Okay. And Trump was like, okay, now I'm listening. Now we're having a conversation. And that's why it lasted 3 hours.
So you
Okay, even if he did that, which he didn't, which is the biggest point of that, but if you're someone who believes, which I do, that the election had a lot of stuff wrong with it, then what is the correct behavior to correct a corrupt government, an election that was completely taken over by the deep state, completely cheated? What would be the correct behavior if you've exhausted all legal things, but you're sure or even have a strong belief or some circumstantial evidence? If he did that and then prove that there was cheating, then wouldn't that be the correct solution? The founders gave the United States citizens the responsibility to get rid of a tyrannical or a corrupt government. So at what point is drastic measures appropriate?
At the end, hold on.
no, hold on. You're talking about something that already happened. I'm asking you about the future. Let's just stick with that.
No, but that's totally relevant.
No, well, I'm sure, which is why I'm asking you the question to follow up. So do you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he's not going to relinquish power? Is that what you're saying?
So since he didn't relinquish power last time, yes.
Well, ultimately he did, but
Ultimately, he did. This is ridiculous. He's going to go watch. This guy's crazy.
but you fear.
Oh, come on, guys.
Fine,
come
let's accept
on, there
that
it is.
for the sake of argument
Classic
again.
Cenk.
So you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, when he can no longer run for election again, you fear that he will not hand over the presidency.
A guy who said, let's terminate the Constitution, considered martial law, and had a fake elector plot to steal an election.
And didn't
might
do any
he
of
try
that.
to stay in power? Of course! Of
course!
course!
Oh, that's good. So we got to.
Typical
So you
Cenk.
fear
This
that
guy's
at the end
crazy.
of this 4-year period,
I don't know who
he
even
will
watches
not
this guy.
vacate the White
That
House.
is one of my concerns, absolutely, and that alone is a deal breaker.
Well, it'd be a deal breaker for anyone, left and
but
right.
he didn't
no
do
question.
it when he
Except
would have
it
had the
wasn't
most
because-
valid time to do it would have been last time around. He didn't. It's crazy. He wouldn't even if there was another election and there was some things that went bad, maybe then. But there's not going to be another election. He's going to be on his way out. This guy's just grasping for straws to justify his crazy TDS. Oh, Trump's a dictator opinion, which is based on nothing.
He already tried to do it, and the right was like, no big deal, no big deal.
I don't think that's
It was a
quite,
giant deal.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
think
it's
that's
a
quite true,
giant
but anyway,
deal.
I-
It's
so
the biggest deal.
That's your big concern.
So that's number one. Number two is the reason I was telling you about martial law is because he's also said, let's use the military to shoot the protesters in the legs. Let's use the National Guard to.
I don't know if anybody's ever heard that quote. I've never seen that quote. This sounds like some made up third party, a friend of a friend of a friend who knows somebody who worked for Trump who walked by a homeless guy outside the White House heard that he said that. I've never heard that. It doesn't sound like something Trump would say. Maybe he said it in jest because he's a big comedian. But if anybody has a link or a legit source for a quote for that, I'd like to see it.
Arrest citizens, etc. When you're talking about arresting or shooting U.S. citizens and you using the military to do that because you don't like their protests, and you could be livid about their protests, it doesn't matter.
Sure, it's
we have a
un-American.
right to protest.
Of course.
And when he says that, and he has definitively said that and said it on the record, if you go and do that, now that there are no brakes in the car, and there is no General Milley, and there is no General Kelly, and they're not going to be able to stop him. If he does that,
General Milley and General Kelly really like the people that no one hates, anti-American, unpatriotic, full of woke garbage. This is the guys that he thinks are the queens of, or the people who are going to uphold the Constitution and democracy over anybody else. And which is weird for Cenk, because Cenk is a pretty populist guy. And so it's funny that that's the people he goes to choose. Oh, this is the people who are going to keep the guardrails on Trump and keep it from being crazy dictator.
do you guys agree that would be fascism?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so
good.
your great concerns are just so
Yep.
to replay it for people, and then I'll hand over to Francis.
And you can see in his face right there, he's like, yeah, that's those are my arguments. I know they're not great, and I know you guys are probably going to shaft me on this coming up, and no one's going to believe me what I'm saying, but that's what I got, and it's my final answer.
Number one, at the end of the 4-year term that he currently has, he's not going to hand over the presidency, number one. And number two, he is going to be deeply un-American about the way he handles free speech and the right to protest and the right to free assembly.
Which is completely wrong. Look at his face. Look at his face. Yep. That's my yeah, I think that's what I believe. Yep, that's me. Which is ridiculous because no one has been more ridiculed in politics than Trump ever in history in United States politics. And what has he done? Obama jailed people who spoke out against him, and and leaked secrets about his personal secrets. Trump, not even close.
In other words, he will take protesters and strip them of citizenship. He will have the army shoot them. He will imprison people for turning up on a college campus and burning an American flag, let's say. Those are your two main kind of like, this is the fascism that might happen. Have I got you right?
That's right. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen.
But that's
I'm
your
saying
concern.
he has said
It's not
those.
going to happen, even though I was freaking out the whole time over the last 8 years. Like the world's going to burn down and he's the worst thing that could ever happen. And of course, and it's so obvious. How do you guys not see it? This guy's crazy.
Things.
That's your concern.
And it makes me concerned that he will do those things.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's it, guys. If you guys want to see me do a deep dive into the actual full interview when it comes out, please comment below, like and subscribe for more. Thanks.